So like Rambo does actually know what he's doing and can actually figure out how to dismantle it, because it's older model. It's a little bit more primitive and something he's used to. You know, it's not exactly Lethal Weapon. Riggs cut the red wire or the blue wire and grab the cat and all that fucking shit. But it's it's pretty. It's, I don't know. You gotta go with it, people. It's a fan script. Anyway, I definitely breathe much more into this shit than I should. But you know, that's what happens when you drink beer and smoke a lot of weed as a kid and, and try to like come up writing the craziest shit you can think of. So I do adore the challenge, and you know, let's get on to the final movings of the final act. So, like, I open up my brain for the page and all these creepy little fucking things crawl out, and I don't know where I get it from. Must be from coming up in a broken home, but you know, let's get back to the story. So Rambo has successfully you know, defeated the nuclear problem of the plot division half of the story, and has disassembled the nuclear threat on America. So now we get this scene where Rambo's gonna hunt down the bad guy, the main bad guy, which is what's his name? Which is Mickey Rourke. But before he has time to do that, now that he's disassembled everything, he's just going over it, making sure that he didn't leave anything attached, which he didn't, but he's just making sure anyway, because you gotta know for sure, right? It's the fate of the world, right? So anyway, 2 of the 3 remaining bad guys show up, and Rambo, you know, has known them from the past, and they're more the bully type, and you know, Rambo remembers them from, you know, killing innocent civilians in Vietnam, killing village people, and not the band, but actual village people, you know, small children, women, rapes. You know, they're just really bad fucking guys. Really abuseful with their authority, and you know, Rambo hates them. They catch him, you know, they catch Rambo by surprise. One guy, you know, cracks Rambo in the back of the head. Rambo's all fucked up for the moment, because remember, Rambo has a really bad head wound. So Rambo's like rolling around, and they're like kicking him back and forth between each other. They don't want to open fire on him, like they don't want to just shoot him in here just in case, you know, something goes wrong. And the whole place, you know, gets blown up and sent back, you know, to time and space, you know, blowing the shit out of everything. When I was writing them, I think I can remember that they were a little more keen on the fact of America failing to comply, and you know, America being turned into a wasteland, and they would inherit this new Earth. A lot of this goes back to, like I was saying before, religious, Zen, Buddhist. Well, like Buddhist in a way, but not really to these guys. These guys are more like radicalists. So, you know, they don't want to take a chance on blowing this shit up. You know, they're pretty much banking on the fact that America's going to be turned into a wasteland, and one day they're going to be able to go out, take whatever survivors they can for their own, you know, women, whatever, start over, and, you know, kill out any opposing force. But not on Rambo's watch, right? Like, Rambo's getting the shit kicked out of him by these 2 guys who are just kicking him back and forth like a fucking soccer ball. Really vicious, really malicious, almost having fun with it, you know, with the jokes. You know, you could have been one of us. You know, why the fuck did you have to, you know, go your own way and all this shit? And you had to be the good boy, and, you know, nice guys finish last and all that shit. And they're kicking the shit out of him. And, you know, unknowing that Rambo's getting ready for his 2nd win, or his 3rd or 4th win by this point, right? So Rambo's taking the pain, because as Teddy Ruxpin would say, that's what Rambo does. He takes the pain. So he's taking the pain. They should have just, you know, chopped his head off, but they didn't, right? So Rambo, like, finally gets, you know, gets his own hand back on the weapon. the greatest weapon, which is the mind. He starts, the mind. He starts, calculating their shots and how fast they're punching at him and kicking at him. He takes them both on, and that's actually a part I wrote into my Cobra fan script. Not exactly the same characters or based on the same character likenesses. I really was going for like a Ron Perlman with this scene, but in my Cobra fan script, it's Vincent Klein and what the hell's that other guy's name? Sonny Lanham. And in the Contra, it's much more bloody. In the Cobra, sorry, not the Contra. In the Cobra, like Marion's arm is shot, and Vincent Klein has his thumb in the wound, and it's pretty graphic and disgusting, actually. But I must say that a lot of the ideas that would come from later scripts, a lot of them came from this script, even though at the time this script was something I wrote way ahead of a lot of other things that I was working on. A lot of the stuff that I wrote, I guess like recently or within the last couple of years, has stemmed from my early Rambo 4 script. I guess maybe because I knew I was going to shelve it, especially after the fourth Rambo movie did come out, Rambo 2008. I shelved it. So little nuances of this script pretty much show up in a lot of other places. Maybe one day I'll dig it up and I'll put it on the internet for you guys. But anyway, getting back to the story. So, to make a long story short, Rambo's fighting these two just brute caveman-sized bastards, and he's fighting them, and eventually he gets his hand on his knife, and eventually, disembowels one, cuts the guy's throat. The guy's like laying down on the ground with his throat cut. He ends up, stabbing the other one to death, just continuously stabbing and stabbing and stabbing and stabbing. Really forceful. Screaming at the guy as he's stabbing, like, Rambo. Imagine Rambo 2, when he walks into Murdoch's lair and he's blasting apart all those computers and he holds that M60 up and he's screaming, It's kind of like that. He's screaming and he's stabbing that guy to death. And then after he stabs the guy to death, he turns around and he back kick stomps on the guy's head. The other guy who he disemboweled and cut the throat. The guy wasn't dead yet, but he back kick stomps on the guy's forehead and just takes the whole head completely backwards and off. And the guy's like, innards from his neck and neck bone and everything, Adam's apple are hanging out and like spewing out blood and everything, and Rambo's all covered in blood, and bits of brain and flesh from before still, and Rambo's pretty much just red, like his whole body is just pretty much red, the whole top half, he's no shirt, he's totally exposed, red everywhere. I find that a lot of that too goes back to the Indians, like how they would bathe in blood, for ritualistic purposes, and now Rambo's focused on what he has to do. So he works his way down even further to where Mickey Rourke's character is, and he's pretty busted up, and he gets down there to the bottom, and he's holding the knife by his side kind of loosely, and we get this whole story where now they're in the core, so to speak, of the complex, and Mickey tells him of this conspiracy theory, like the conspiracy theory to end all conspiracy theories, dealing with everything: religion, war, the military, supernatural forces, even going as far to bring in ancient aliens, alien technology and aliens. Like, it's just the craziest thing you've ever heard, which brings you to the point of, are these guys really radically crazy, or is there some kind of balance to this? Is this shell shock, or or is there really something else going on that caused a lot of craziness to happen? And, maybe a select few who were in the military were chosen to keep these things secret. So we get this really crazy conspiracy theory. I won't ruin it for you because it does tie into rewrites I did later on that deal with the prequel, my idea for a prequel, and my idea for a Rambo 5. But it's really crazy. Even going as far as to say that religion is tied in, 666, number of the beast. Just go back and maybe watch Rambo 2 to when Murdoch's talking to Rambo about his enlistment date. And that's a little, that's my little clue to you of what this is all about in the big theory. But and that's also why they asked him to become one of them. Maybe not to lead, but to become one of them, because they want something out of Rambo also. Don't forget. So, Rambo, in a sense of refusing to be with them, they could kill him off, and it just goes beyond, and kill off Rambo, and they're gonna nuke the whole place anyway. They don't really care. Mickey Rourke doesn't really care, so it's, I don't know. I don't want to give it away, but let's just say it's the conspiracy theory to end all fucking conspiracy theories. There's a lot of religion tied up in it too. Even as far as going to say that a lot of angels and godlike forces were in fact stemmed by aliens at one point, like ancient aliens that came down, like with the Maya and Sumerians and all that kind of stuff. So we get this crazy theory, and Rambo at this point doesn't know what to believe. All he knows is that it's just insane. They start talking about trust. Mickey Rourke and Sly's character started talking about trust and the way they were friends and all this, everyone that got caught up in the middle and what was this all for, and everything that's transpiring. And pretty much it's down to the draw. Rambo's holding that knife by his side, and Mickey Rourke has his pistol, in his holster. His hand's not on yet, but it's in that holster. Rambo knows he's gonna go for that pistol. Fuck. So they're having their last words, and Mickey Rourke's even jokingly, he's saying once I kill you, I'm just gonna go reconnect the bombs and blow this place up. He's like, I know you must have taken care of the bombs. It's like, I tried to hit the ignition switch to have everything turned off early, and the bombs don't fucking work. Which is a scene that we had a little bit before, which I forgot to mention. So there's the famous draw. Mickey, punks Sly out while he's talking to him, kind of making it look like, oh, and this is gonna happen. But in the same instance, trying to punk him out, reaching for the pistol so that so that Sly would be concentrating on his sentence and he could get a shot off at the same time, fooling Rambo. There's a lot of trickery, I should say. And as Mickey Rourke draws the pistol, Sly, he's like, he raises that knife, and the shot echoes out, and it goes right through Rambo's other shoulder. But Rambo's still in the motion with the knife, kind of like that scene in Con Air when Nicolas Cage is walking through the plane and they shoot him, or walking through something, I forget what it is, and they shoot him and the bullet goes through him and it doesn't affect him. He just keeps on walking. So Sly keeps on moving, and he ends up tossing, really violently whipping that blade, stabbing Mickey Rourke through the chest and impaling him to a wall.